We often find ourselves at a public gathering, usually a simcha or possibly in the shul, and wherever the Jewish people can be found, they will have what to talk about. But did you ever hear in a conversation someone say, "I'm not really sure I can comment. I just don't have enough information"? I mean, if someone says, "I think the army should do this," or "How could the rabbis have said such a thing?" Did you ever hear someone say, "Before I tell you what I think, perhaps I'll look into it a little more and get the facts so I can have an educated opinion"? It doesn't happen too often because there are no shortage of opinions, and the natural thing to do is to comment based on our mood or what's good for us or how we can benefit. The point is that we are constantly thinking the entire day. Our mind is always at work, but 99% of the time it's without any direction or goal or specific desire in mind. Our thoughts are basically being constructed out of instinct and habit. You know why this is really disturbing? Because there's another fact to consider. We become what we think about. I mean, it's obvious the only way a person can change anything in their life is to change how they think. I can't smell a flower and say, "Oh, now I'm a rose." Or eat a steak and say, "Oh, now I'm a cow." Listening to music won't make you Beethoven, and touching a rabbit won't give you the ability to hop around your garden. None of our senses can make a change. It's only what's in our head. So it comes out that who we are and who we want to be is dependent on using the mind and thinking intentionally. We are what we think about. And if it's also true that we can choose what we think about, then who we are is really up to us. You want to be kind, then make that decision and back it up with action. Go out there and be a nice guy. Not because it's a good thing to do, but it's because that's who you are. You want to be successful, then tell yourself you are a success and take on the habits of successful people. And if you want to live an accomplished life, free of worry, if you want to be fully confident that everything you go through is uniquely designed for your benefit, so much so that if you would have been given a preview of your life beforehand, you would not have changed a thing. Not a thing. If this is the life you want, then stop thinking randomly and start thinking intentionally. Decide who you want to be. Make it a goal that from now on, that I will recognize, number one, Hashem is in charge. Something that should be pretty obvious. I mean, if we just look over the past few years at world events, be committed to realize everything in your life is happening with intention. It's the will of God. And number two, recognize that Hashem only wants to do kindness with all His creations. Once we accept these two thoughts and decide this is how I am going to react to every situation in my life, knowing that Hashem, who's in charge, designed this for me, and it's with tremendous kindness, then we begin to open ourselves up to feeling gratitude for what Hashem does. We become overwhelmed with love for all the chesed, and eventually our desire to serve Him grows. This leads to more fulfillment in life and even more happiness. And that's it. That's the cycle of life. It's so easy, and it starts in the mind. Make that decision of who you want to become and what kind of life you want. And how is this connected to the Parsha? Well, there's two events in this week's Parsha. One is the giving of the half-shekel donation by each member of Klal Yisrael. The other event was the making of the golden calf to replace Moshe, who they mistakenly thought was not coming back down from Har Sinai. Now, the Mishkan, the tabernacle that the Jewish people were commanded to build, was an atonement for the sin of the golden calf. And the half-shekel donation, that went to the construction, and also it went towards the purchase of animal sacrifices that were offered in the Mishkan. You see, the sin of the golden calf, it came from a knee-jerk instinct to complain, the same habitual reaction we see throughout the 40 years in the desert. Why were Klal Yisrael, why were they thinking like that? I mean, Klal Yisrael just witnessed the greatest miracles that went against the laws of nature, clearly executed by Hashem. They should have seen the world with 100% purpose and clarity, that Hashem is in charge and He only wants to do chesed with them. Now, things don't always make sense. Sometimes they're outright difficult and challenging. Hashem said, bring a half shekel to teach us that we don't have the full picture. The story is still unfolding. He says, you know I'm here for you. You know I love you. You're my children. Just stay focused. We need to learn that a true relationship with Hashem, a life of happiness and free of worry, it can only come from knowing Hashem is in charge, and He only wants to shower us with kindness.